Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the learning program of Rejuvenating Peri Urban Ponds, the learning program launch. We begin today's event with a very brief video that showcases development alternatives work around pond rejuvenation. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the learning program of Rejuvenating Peri Urban Ponds, the learning program launch. We begin today's event with a very brief video that showcases development alternatives work around pond rejuvenation. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the learning program of Rejuvenating.
आवाज नहीं रहेगा
कसं लाईव्ह स्ट्रीमिंग आहे
शशि है और मैं गांव में लकच्ची से हूँ। पहले मेरे गांव में बहुत गंदगी थी तालाब में, लेकिन अब ये तालाब डीओ वालों ने सफाई करवाई है।
यहाँ का तालाब बहुत गंदा था, इन लोगों ने बहुत मेहनत किया। इसमें पानी इतना गंदा था, कीचड़ थी एक तरह की। इन लोगों ने वो कीचड़ बाहर गिरी है, मट्टी वट्टी करवाई है, पेड़ पौधे भी लगवाए हैं, बहुत ज्यादा मेहनत की है।
पहले हमारे इस रोड की बहुत बुरी हालत थी और अब जो है कंपनी वाले आए DA/SCL वाले, और इन्होंने इसकी बहुत अच्छी हालत कर दी है। बंद भी बनाया है, पेड़ पौधे लगाए हैं, तारबंदी भी होगी, तो इसलिए ये जो है अच्छा हुआ है हमारे गांव के लिए।
I welcome all of you again to this launch event of the learning program on rejuvenating peri-urban pond systems. I am Swayam Prabha and I lead the policy work within development alternatives, and I will be your facilitator for this event. Development Alternatives is a 40-year-old organization dedicated to sustainable development. It is a research and action organization striving to deliver socially equitable, environmentally sound, and economically scalable development outcomes. Our green technology innovations for habitat, water, energy, and waste management, which deliver basic needs and generate sustainable livelihoods, have reduced poverty and rejuvenated natural ecosystems in the most backward regions in India. Water, in its many forms, is at the center of our lives and livelihoods, drives our spiritual connect, and provides us with a recreational value that binds us with nature and our own well-being. Water is also at the heart of climate change adaptation, risk, and disasters. To adapt to a changing climate, a combination of early warning and early action measures that support integrated water management is essential. Water bodies like ponds and lakes, if protected and better managed, can build the resilience of people and ecosystems to adapt to climate variability, especially in urban and peri-urban areas, where these wetlands and water bodies have the potential to mitigate drought and absorb flood water effectively. Ponds have been a part of the Indian life and culture, around which not only our livelihoods, but also our spiritual and community well-being is connected. With this, I now invite my colleague, Ms. Akriti Uttam, to shed light on development alternatives, interventions, and the pond rejuvenation journey. Over to you, Akriti.
Thank you, Dr. Das. So I once again welcome everybody to the launch of our learning program on rejuvenating peri-urban ponds. So DA started the journey on pond rejuvenation 4 years ago. Before moving on to what we have done with respect to pond rejuvenation, just a very brief on the organization part. As you all are aware that Development Alternative is a 40-year-old organization with a mission to design and deliver and promote scalable solutions that enable better lives and resilient economies for everyone, especially the vulnerable communities. So how do we address the global challenges? We work in the three focus areas that of climate resilience and ecosystem restoration, resource efficiency and circular economy, and entrepreneurship. These are the sectors that we work in: decent work, green energy, empowering communities, sustainable agriculture, water solutions, climate response, sustainable enterprises. With respect to water, these are the 6 sectors that we generally work in. At the implementation level, we have been working for 40 years now in our Karam Bhumi called Bundelkhand, wherein more than 300 check dams and other water harvesting structures have been developed. At the technology solution level, we have our in-house laboratory at Ghitorni, and we have developed a Jal Tara testing kit, which has 14 parameters and can test over 100 and can have 100 tests. At sustainable delivery systems, we have innovated a delivery model called locally operated, community-owned model for drinking water, where women are taking ownership for protecting and maintaining the drinking water systems that have been developed. At awareness and capacity building level, we customize our training program and capacity building modules, specially customized for community stakeholders and other stakeholder groups. We are an organization that believes in connecting practice to policy, wherein we do a lot of consultations at stakeholder level, partnerships with state and local government. We have recently provided a recommendation to the entire Amrit Sarovar program through one of our initiatives, and we generally produce a lot of policy papers and brief to influence the policy. One of our strong points here include assessment and planning level. We have designed tools for water mapping. We generally prepare a lot of detailed program reports and have also engaged ourselves in analysis of water flow at the city level. In our unique model called citizen science, we empower the citizens as data collectors and also in analyzing the data that they have collected. So how did we start our journey on pond rejuvenation? So first of all, moving on to why did we start doing pond rejuvenation as one of our initiative? At meta level, we know that water stress is increasing with the increase in demographic demand for water in the sectors of agriculture, infrastructure development, construction sector, and also the impacts of climate change has aggravated this impact. The development patterns that we all know that are not conducive with respect to managing of water resources. When we talk especially of urban and peri-urban spaces, much of the rejuvenation work is being given importance to wetland and lake restorations, and a limited importance is given to the smaller ponds that are existing in these spaces. We all are aware that how heat island effects are increasing and the role that these water bodies can have in mitigating the heat island effects. When we understood the meta level challenges and went to the local communities, we understood some of the challenges at the local level, that most of the ponds, though they existed on paper, but most of them were encroached or were used as the dumping grounds by the villagers. There was high level of siltation in the ponds, which had reduced their water holding capacities, and the grey water from the entire village was entering these water bodies without being treated. One of the major things that we also identified, that there was a lack of ownership amongst the community, amongst the local stakeholders in rejuvenating and maintaining the pond ecosystem. So what approach did we follow? So we followed a 4A approach, but we added a component of agency in it. We started by doing assessment, wherein we categorized different ponds based on different personas. And based on different personas, we co-created the solutions with the community. So community was the focal point of all our initiatives, starting from assessment, action, advocacy, and awareness. At the action level, action for rejuvenating point, apart from the physical processes that generally everybody is aware of, we focused on bridging two gaps, one at the knowledge level and one at the action level. Knowledge level through the technology solutions and through different awareness and capacity building programs. At the action level, through enabling finances and different technology with respect to wastewater models, etc. This enabled community to be actively engaged in the management of the pond ecosystem, because they realized the value of the ponds, and this ensured mechanisms to ensure the sustainability of a pond in a longer run. We generally believe in an approach where we can move a pond from a state of perceived redundancy to a state of relevance. The impact that we have created so far is that we have rejuvenated 91 odd ponds in 3 states and in 74 peri-urban and rural villages, which has resulted in saving 98.3 hectares of land from future encroachments, and 68% of the water potential has increased. So our major work has been in the UP and MP state, and we have recently started moving in the Himachal Pradesh state as well. So where do our expertise lies? We provide technical advisory services to district administrations and NGOs in how to implement pond rejuvenation work in a holistic manner. The planning advisory services in terms of how to prepare detailed project reports, how to do assessment, and assessment does not just involve the physical assessment but also using of scientific tools and technologies. We also have an expertise in designing low-cost, nature-based wastewater treatment models that can treat the gray water that is entering the ponds. And our expertise also lies in building and customizing different training and capacity building modules, specially designed for each stakeholder group. And some of our partners in this journey has been HCL Foundation, AT Chandra, LIC, Hindustan Unilever, NABARD, and some of the development authorities. Thank you.
Thank you, Akriti. Thank you, Akriti, for this wonderful presentation on development alternatives work. I'm sure this would have stimulated a lot of thoughts in the minds of our participants who have joined us online. And I would request that if you have any questions or any queries, to kindly put that up in the chat with your email, name and email, and we will try and respond to them as quickly as possible. I now invite Ms. Zeenat Niazi, Chief Advisor, Circular Economy and Climate Resilience Program of Development Alternatives, to share on the ecosystem restoration through pond rejuvenation, a nature-based solution. Over to you, Zeenat.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And I'm so happy to be able to share some of the learnings that we have had in development alternatives regarding nature-based solutions, and also put it in a larger perspective of policy space, of the theoretical space, and the trends within global and Indian urban situations. So just to give you a broad idea of what the urbanization trends are and where we stand with respect to the challenges that are being faced, we look at what is happening across the world, and we see that by 2050, the trends indicate that the world would have been higher than 55%, closer to actually 60% urban. We would have added additional 2 billion people in the global area, in the urban areas globally, and 90% of this additional 2 billion are going to be in Asia and Africa, with India and Nigeria leading the pace of urbanization. And it's not just the numbers of urban centers that we are adding, but it's or the scale at which they are growing, but it's also the speed at which we are growing that is a concern to us. Can we go next? And obviously, this density of population is going to have an impact, as it does, on the natural ecosystems. And that is a huge concern. We are going to be covering about an area of 1.2 billion square kilometers by 2030 as urbanites. And we are, in the past, we've had a huge impact on the quantum of natural land that has been lost to cities because of the land use change. We are going to be threatening the virgin, pristine natural habitats, and we are going to be destroying almost to 4.3 billion metric tons of potential of the natural lands to sequester carbon. And this in a time when we are fighting for the 1.5 degrees is a crazy situation. We must also remember that despite all of this, cities are only covering about 2% of the land, ice-free land on the world, but it's responsible for over 70% CO2 emissions, over 70% extraction and use and consumption of materials, and also for over 50% of the waste production, because of the way we are designed and the way cities are, are working these days. And so if we go next, please, thank you. Obviously, the cities have an impact on the natural systems, and there is a vice versa reciprocal impact, and that is what we are very concerned with here. So while we are critically dependent on the bioregions that we are impacting, the loss of the ecosystems outside the city and within the city impacts the city. So there's loss of water, there's loss of land, there's loss of biodiversity, which has an impact on drinking water. It has an impact on human health, both mental and physical. It has an impact on our food systems. And of course, it creates much higher vulnerabilities uh, to the city dwellers with respect to climate change. And not just because you are creating heat island effects, as was noted earlier, but it's also because you have flooding, you have your drainage situation, which is not able to handle, and then you put overlay climate change on it, then your infrastructure is unable to manage what the climate change is sort of impacting on you. And this is uh, these are all physical manifestations and health manifestations that can be measured. The intangibles that have actually been studied as loss because of loss of nature in the cities are reducing productivity, reducing creativity, and creating mental stress, and then connected to reducing our individual and community freedoms, which is a study that has already been established. So let's go forward to see what's happening in India. And I have two very quick snapshots of India 1991. This is from WRI's report. And India expected to be in 2031. And you see these green, blue, pink dots on the map increasing. And these are our urban centers. And it's not just that the blue dots, which are our mega cities, are increasing large in size. It's also because your greens are increasing in number, and so are your pinks. And you're actually creating almost a dense, connected, contiguous urban system in an already populated continent, or subcontinent, if I may say so. Thank you. Next. In India and this is important to note from the perspective of the nature-based solutions that we are looking at, because in India, the urbanization is not just a result of in-migration, it's also a result of rural transformation, which means that there are path dependencies which we need to consider as we look at the kind of solutions, especially respected to nature and culture that we are addressing in the cities. We need to look at the fact that it is the small and medium towns, the pink and the green dots that we saw earlier in the map, which are important because they are the ones that are growing fastest. We are also interested because these are the same places which have low governance capacities and at the same time have very high multiple pressures on them as they are growing fast. Let's go next. We see that in India, the cities, as everywhere else, but it's, in countries like India, it's exacerbated, that we have we are both victims of and cause of ecosystem collapse. So we are looking at natural wetlands that are being lost. We are looking at biodiversity hotspots that are being impacted, and we are looking at river basins which are already stressed. A very significant impact has become that of the water cycle, something that we've always learned in our universities and colleges and schools, that is a circular system, because you have water that evaporates and comes down as precipitation, gets used and goes back again. But the fact remains that urbanization is threatening to make this system linear. And you can see in the photographs, we have reports that over 44 cities have reported heat island effects. We have reports that 21 cities are nearly at zero water days. We have reports that 70% of our sewage was untreated in 2018, which situation is not too good even now. And 20% of urban population did not have access to safe water. So this is all a situation which we were trying to address now through another means, because the physical infrastructure mechanism is no longer working. As we go further, we go to the concept of NBS. And what are NBSs? NBSs are basically solutions that you work with nature and nature works with you to support and address your urban and other challenges. Here we are talking urban. So we are talking about challenges that can be addressed the challenges of water scarcity, challenges of flood mitigation, etc., that can be addressed through solutions that are using nature and working with nature to do that. And there is a long history of that, starting from 2007, of the concept being developed to now, where we actually have a very intensive portal developing, which is a global portal with a whole lot of solutions on urban nature management through nature-based solutions that is accessible now, freely accessible and available to everyone. Let's go forward. NBS is an umbrella concept. We've talked, we've in us in the academic and the development circles, one talks a lot about ecosystem-based approaches and blue-green infrastructure, etc. But NBS is really an umbrella concept that takes care of all of these. The important thing is that NBS is it's a nature-based solution which includes actions, and I'll sort of read this out from the IUCN definition, which are actions to protect sustainably, manage and restore natural or modified ecosystems that address societal challenges effectively and adaptively simultaneously, providing well-being and biodiversity benefits. And I think this last is the important thing, that it brings nature and people's development together. So you are looking at these two things and as inextricably linked. Can we go to the next one, please? But we must remember what NBS are not, because when we start looking at rejuvenating ponds and water bodies within the cities, what they are not is that the nature-based solutions work with nature, whereas there are nature-derived solutions, such as, you see in the picture, the wind turbines giving you renewable energy, or nature-inspired solutions such as building structures that are using the theories of nature to provide you better benefits. And that's not nature-based solutions. Nature-based solutions, again, we look at it from a variety of ways. You can look at it on the basis of scale. And in the cities, it could be buildings on streets and neighborhoods. It could be at the level of a city district. It could be a level of the whole metropolitan area. So there are different sort of scales. We are also looking at nature-based solutions that are land-based, water-based, built environment. But I think the most important classification here is, again, which the IUCN uses pretty well, which is the NBS type 1, type 2, type 3, which basically looks at the level of engineering and the degree of integration of nature within that solution. Most of the urban NBS, including the pond rejuvenation, fall under the NBS type 3, sometimes between type 2 and type 3. So these are not sort of strong boundaries between them, they overlap. So most of your urban NBS solutions will fall under them. As you go from type 1 to type 3, the number of stakeholders that you are impacting directly and most importantly indirectly, it actually decreases, because the type 1, which is more conservation, the number of sort of people that you are impacting is much more. But the number of targeted challenges that you are addressing, that increases as you go to type 3. So you are targeting climate action, you're targeting drainage, so your very, very specific targeted actions start happening there. In case of the type 1, there are much broader sort of actions that are there, and a wide range of actions that are there. Can we go? And another important factor is that NBS are multifunctional, which means that they're not just giving you one benefit, they're giving you multiple benefits. So you may have designed a urban body rejuvenation program just for water conservation, but it will also give you multiple other benefits of reducing your heat island, of increasing your biodiversity, of creating a cultural space for people. So the multifunctional aspect of NBS is very important, because that is where you can start leveraging the benefits of the solution that you're looking at. Let's go further. But within the cities, and I think this is something that Akriti before me had also talked about, is that they are in the cities, nature-based solutions are often constrained for space, because cities are dense, human settlements built. And so there's very little space left to sort of design new solutions. That discontinuous, and which is a problem for ecological sort of elements. And they're often isolated. So you see the picture in front, which is which is a plan from Ahmedabad of a group of a set of planners who are working on creating contiguous drainage systems. But this is pre-design, and they have mapped out all the different green and blue sort of assets. And you can see that they're all sort of away from each other, and there is an effort to now connect them to each other. They're also path dependent, and this is where I was talking about where the urban system is coming from and where the urban solution is coming from. Akriti pointed that to earlier, that there are histories of when you're working with a pond or an urban forest, there are histories of how that has developed, how people have managed it in the past, how it's been governed in the past, and that is an important aspect when you're designing for for rejuvenating and managing it. Then, of course, they are affected by cross-scale interactions. It might be a very small pond in a neighborhood, but it is impacted by what's happening in the rest of the city, and of course, the global changes, and climate change affects the pond itself. So even though you see it as a very local sort of element, there is a connection in between. Let's go next. And so just a sort of a snapshot of the fact that these are two different ponds, one in Gautam Budh Nagar that has been worked upon by the DA group, the other in Daulatabad in Gurugram, another group, Gurujal, and they are both designed with similar principles, but they both have different path dependencies and different contexts, so to say. So you have a almost, the place where the rural is turning into urban. There's a peri-urban situation happening in the top, and you have a relatively urban dense situation happening at the bottom, and both of these then therefore get treated differently, and they are managed differently. Their approach to by the community to them, their relationship by the community to the pond is also different. And so the Akriti mentioned the aspect of personas, so we need to really look at different locations and contexts as different types and personas of ponds. Let's look at that. Going very quickly, these are different kinds of urban NBS, and rejuvenated ponds is a type 3 urban NBS, which we are working on. Let's go next. And these, have now had a slow, I would say, but a steady interest from city municipalities across the country. But the primary motivation here, and because it's the city municipality looking at it, the primary motivation is related to the urban challenge. So you are looking at water scarcities, you are looking at water pollution conditions, and therefore looking at these ponds as possible allies in solving that. You're looking at the impacts on health because of it, on what's happening when you have a dense situation and there's rainfall, and can they help us in managing flooding, etc. But unfortunately, across the country, still urban ponds are being dealt with isolated manner. And I think that's where a lesson for all of us is: how do we look at it in larger numbers together and in a connected manner? There is inadequate monitoring of ecological services that they are providing, especially habitat supporting services. So the quantification of biodiversity that is improving because of the pond coming in is therefore less monitored, but more monitored is the quality of water, not drinking water that's available, or the treatment of the polluted water. So I think those are the sort of imbalances we still have to work on. And again, because of the relationship of the ponds with the people, there is a very high focus on the cultural ecosystem services that are being provided, but inadequate on the other 3 ecosystem services that are being provided. And just last slide, that it is now a model for urban areas to manage water system, this whole aspect of rejuvenated ponds, and its combination with treatment of wastewater that's coming, and filling the water body is a very interesting model that has emerged. There are guidelines now available, and I think speakers after me will talk about that. We have lessons from the ground that are emerging, especially related to stakeholder engagement, post-development management, which is a critical issue, budgets in the governments, local encroachment and conflicts, monitoring systems and benefits. So I will just leave you with this last slide, which is the key challenges that we are facing and we are trying to solve. And these are the challenges that now policy and practice is going to be working on. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Thank you, Zeenat, for setting the stage for the next speaker. We are honored to have with us today Shri Ashok Kumar, former DG NMCG, that's the National Mission for Clean Ganga. Sir needs no introduction. He has been in the water community for a long time, and he's going to share his thoughts with us on governance and sustainability for pond rejuvenation. And we are indeed very lucky in DA to have him advise us on our water portfolio. Over to you, sir. 10 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. After this wonderful introduction on the topic, I will take three aspects. One on the water governance and sustainability and the water conservation part of it, with some examples from various government initiatives. I also congratulate development initiatives and the partners like HCL Foundation, who have been doing a lot of work in the water conservation sector. Water has finally got its place of importance in the governance and in the administration, where people have realized that it is an important resource. It's going to be a limited resources, and hence there is need to conserve water. There is need to ensure sustainability by introducing circular economy, etc. So these two aspects, the water conservation aspect and the water sustainability or the circular economy aspect, has gained currency very much. One of the very important campaign of water conservation was the Catch the Rain campaign, if many of you are aware of it. The Catch the Rain campaign with the slogan, Catch the Rain where it falls, when it falls. It's a very innovative, interesting campaign which had a tremendous impact. Launched in 2020 and then as a Jal Shakti Abhiyan Catch the Rain campaign in 2021 by the Honorable Prime Minister. This was one of the largest campaign with people's participation to ensure decentralized storage of water. And that's exactly is the pond storage. We talk about holding huge quantity of water in a dam. So 5,700 almost dams, major dams are in the country, but that is an engineering feat. So we are talking about people's participation where people store the water, conserve the rainwater when it falls, where it falls, when it falls, at the local ponds or at the water aquifers, etc., down below, which is a wonderful example of getting people involved in the campaign, and need not be a engineering or engineer-driven campaign or conduit-driven campaign. It is a people's participation, everybody joining in, from right from school children can have small rainwater harvesting structures in their school compound itself, to the villagers and farmers who have water harvesting structures in their fields, etc. So this was a very important path-breaking campaign. And the results are also where to see. The 4 or 5 major interventions we took at that time were in the Catch the Rain campaign, where one is to build appropriate rainwater harvesting structure. That's where the importance of the training comes in, because what is suitable in Rajasthan may not be suitable in Ladakh, because Ladakh is a cold climate. You can store water as a stupa, as many of you are aware. You can have water ice stupas to conserve water, whereas that doesn't happen in Rajasthan. The soil structure in Rajasthan is different from what is there in Deccan. So water harvesting structures have to be appropriately designed. Then we also at that time took a drive to enumerate the water bodies, because as was mentioned, many of the urban water bodies, particularly in the peri-urban and urban areas, have been encroached because of the real estate values. So I, as Commissioner of the Hyderabad Urban Development Authority, remember when we started looking at the rejuvenation of lakes in Hyderabad cities. We had almost about 800, 900 lakes. But then when we started actually counting it and then trying to do the conservation, it had come down to 400. So everybody knows about the 1,000 lakes in Delhi, which is now reduced to much fewer number. So a lot of encroachments have taken place, silting has taken place, and buildings have come up in these water bodies, which is one of the cause for the major urban flooding which we see. So the most of the water bodies have disappeared because of this. So under the Cash the Rain campaign, apart from building rainwater harvesting structures, appropriate ones, we also took initiative to see that the water bodies are improved, enumerated, and the encroachments removed, and also put the scientific study on how to conserve the water in those areas, and set up institutional areas like Jal Shakti Kendras in every district. So this is a good effort at that time. We built almost 47 lakh structures, and the most heartwarming is the latest report, or the 2023 report of the groundwater assessment, says that a tremendous increase in water table of many parts of the country because of the conservation campaign which we did, and despite the increase in the water extraction. Now, that's the conservation part of it. The second part is about the sustainability part. All this effort has to be sustained. If this can be sustained only if there is involvement of people. If it is a government function or government program, if it is an engineers program, they build and go, and the onus on ensuring that it continues is with the community. So the people participation or making Jan Andolan is the most important part of it. We have traditions of Pani Panchayat, we have tradition of villages taking care of the water decisions on water management, water use association, all are there. So to ensure sustainability of water, we have to maintain the water bodies, we have to desilt it periodically, because whether you like it or not, when the rain comes in, it also brings in silt, and it actually reduces the holding capacity of the water. Second, many places these water bodies are used as dumping grounds for debris and the waste. That reduces the volume or the holding capacity of water. So we need to ensure that the water bodies are protected. It is desilted periodically. The volume is gaharikaran karana bhi hai, and those aspects of it, and also evolve norms on how to utilize water. There are many instances of the villages deciding on the type of crops, because water is very much consumed in the most inefficient way in the agriculture sector. So the villages, there are instances like Hiwari Bazaar, etc., where the village people sit together and decide what crop and how much area of that crop will be taken by each areas, and conserve those water bodies. So conservation of norms, evolving norms to ensure that the water is conserved and properly utilized. This could be a government given norm, or a norm evolved from the community. And I always feel that anything evolved from the community will be followed by the community, rather than rule or notification from the government, which will be more in violation than in actual practice. So to ensure sustainability, we have to have community participation and the norms being evolved with the help of the community part of it. So this we have water warriors, women water warriors in various villages, water warriors who do a lot of work in the water sector. So we, National Water Mission and other sector NGOs working in the water sector, have identified them, and giving due respect for them for the work they've done. It will be a motivational factor to ensure that the water sustainability is mentioned. The circular economy part I was mentioned. It's high time that the water which we use are after usage is or back treated water, and see that the linearity is removed and the circularity is brought in. So water which is used for a particular purpose as a green and coming out as grey water or sewage water can be treated, and the good water reclaimed and recycled. That has to be taken up. So that's the famous 3 R's which we talk about it. And then respect for water and rejuvenation of water bodies have to be taken up. And now coming to the last part, the governance part. This is not much in the last couple of years. This is an area which government also has to work. It's a very, very important thing, but politically very challenging, because in India, the biggest problem is proper water governance. There's no pricing of water. There's no metering of water usage, and the policies of government in various other sectors impact us, like free power given to farmers. 10 minutes. I'm getting it's on. Free power given to farmers helps in the motivates the farmer to draw more and more water and deplete the water table. So the governance aspect of it, the metering part of it, the pricing part of it, and probably the involvement of community is very important. Water users associations are one of the aspects where we have been engaged. Habitation committees. In Hyderabad, we started with the Sarovar Samrakshan committees, where the water bodies were handed over to the people to govern themselves. So we have, as a part of this campaign, moved to many of the areas like in Ghaziabad and in Gautam Budh Nagar, to many of the ponds which was renovated by DA. Wonderful environment has come up. The ambience have increased. Water bodies, the area around the water body has increased the aesthetic sense of those areas. Many places, the water walking tracks kept along the water body around it, or the bird's island in the middle of the water body is a added attraction for the people. So if we can involve people and also evolve a system of reuse of water, very important is this treatment of grey water, because catching the rain happens when the rain comes. But if the rain doesn't come, sewage and treated water is always, and grey water is there every day. If we can start using this treated water to rejuvenate the ponds, there'll be availability of good water in the ponds every time. So that is something which the DA has developed. So this module, which we are launching today here, is actually a lesson from the experience gained to rejuvenate the water bodies using these things. So I am happy that DA is launching this program today, and I hope that there will be a lot of traction for this, and there will be a lot of good results coming out of this. So all the best once again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's always a delight to hear you speak about how water conservation, water management can be done at various levels, and how we can ensure governance and community participation through all the programs that we do. Development Alternatives also works with a range of partners and communities to ensure a systemic approach to pond rejuvenation. HUL Foundation has been a very compelling partner of Development Alternatives in this journey of pond rejuvenation. And today we are, HCL Foundation has been a compelling partner of DA. And I now invite Mr. Ankit Kumar, Deputy Manager, to share the case study of Gautam Budh Nagar, Uttar Pradesh. Over to you.
I thank you so much. So before they are setting up, so I'll just tell you like why these water bodies are very important to restore. So if you talk about the data, like this around rainfall is around in 400 to 420 MHM, like million hectare meter, and out of that like 70 MHM like directly go for evaporation, and then water recharge is just 67 out of that, and then surface waters go 100 to 115, and then around 150 go to river. So surface water count, these surface water, when we restore this surface water efficiently through these water bodies, then we can save the water. So that's what these water bodies are very important to restore. How can I start? So this is one of the case study. Like we have worked in Gautam Budh Nagar with a different partner. DA is also one of the partner working on water bodies with us in Gautam Budh Nagar. So this is just a slide. Yeah, we can go next. Yeah. Yeah. So just brief about water situation. Like earlier, we have already talked about the problems. Like, so this is one of the picture I've taken up from the Rajasthan. So the picture says like a rural woman in Rajasthan walked over 2.6 kilometers to reach a water source, according to a report by the National Commission by Women. So I won't read all the thing. So that's the thing which we are facing. Like next slide, we can go on. Harit, so whatever work we are doing for water conservation, we are doing under Harit. So Harit is a environment flagship program and action dedicated to conserving, restoring, and enhancing indigenous environmental systems and responding to climate change, sustainability through community engagement. Yeah, we can go next. This is water conservation work which we have done. We are working in 5 states: Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. We have worked around 242 structures. We have rejuvenated almost that. And we are also got the National Water Award. SL Tech has won the National Water Award, 4th National Water Award. We have successfully 7,200 million liter water holding capacity increased, 81.7 billion liters of water harvested through all these interventions. Yeah, we can go next. Now coming to the water bodies which we have worked in Gautam Budh Nagar, we can go next. So this is problem like pre-situation, the problem in Gautam Budh Nagar. So what happened? Like we will have hearing every day in the news also. So in Gautam Budh Nagar, so it's a peri-urban areas of NCR region, and then there are a lot of development is coming up. Jewar Airport is coming up. A lot of authorities are coming up. So the water bodies, like if we say like there are around 1018 water bodies, out of which 217 ponds are encroached by upon due to rapid urbanization by locals or by some other issues. So this is the one of the pre-situation water body of Jeevan district. We can go next. Challenges, like majorly the challenges are water hyacinth in this water bodies, duckweed, algae growth in ponds, dumping of solid waste, silt accumulation due to lot of occupancy of cows and all in household level, and then illegal encroachment, direct sewage connection. These are the major issues, challenges we found during our work on water bodies in Gautam Budh Nagar. We can go next. This is also some of the pre-situation water bodies. We can go next. Yeah. Same issues, like we can go next. Yeah. So another issue, like which I want to tell, like which I want to say here, like the water bodies generally are inside the village, and the natural slope of these these water bodies, like household water, used to be discharged into the water bodies earlier. Now it's happening. Now it's also happening. Now also it's happening. The reason is, and this also accumulate lot of silts through the water. It directly goes to the pond, and the silt accumulate in the water bodies and dead the ponds. So that's the another reason which can be which need to be taken care by the larger authority or by the larger level. Yeah, we can go next. Now the intervention. Yeah, we can go next. Yeah. So the process is important to rejuvenate any water bodies. The process is very important. So what we do, we directly don't start the work on the ground. We do partnership. We work with the government organization. We work with with signed MOU with the government, and then we start the work. We can go next. So there are different phases. So generally what happened, the biggest problem the working with the water bodies, and like the organization, they work in the water bodies for a year, they rejuvenate it and they leave from the place. And then after 1 year, and when we talk about the nature-based solution, the nature-based solution doesn't work it takes time, because nature has their own system, own way to perform. And then, so that's the reason we need to work on at least for 3 to 4 years on these water bodies. When they start functioning, we don't need to put anything in there. So we have to take also maintenance on that. Like first phase we have to do the planning meeting. We have to work with the community. We have to desil the water bodies. Then second phase we have to do the plantation. We have to work with the community. And then third phase we have to create lot of eco spaces and then connect with the community. We can go next. This is one of the intervention that we have done, like the bird island. So bird island, we started putting a bird island in the water bodies. The reason putting it is it's a good roasting place for the birds, and then a lot of birds, migratory birds and all, they need space to roost and on water bodies. So that's the reason we started putting it. We can go next. Then another intervention, what we have do, we put the nano bubbler on water bodies. Constricted wetland we started putting up. So these are the different NBS intervention which we started doing it on the water bodies. And that doesn't mean like it can be replicable on all the water bodies. That depend upon the situation and the condition of water bodies. Yeah, we can go next. We have done the phytoremediation where we have put the constructed wetland connected to the chamber where we have put the lot of green grasses. We like the canna water ice in duckweed. All this we have put it there, and then we started filtering this water, and that water directly goes to the water body. Then next. We have jute bag silt traps, like a lot of local material we have started using to make the silt traps because it's eco-friendly material and also doesn't cost much. So that's what the silt traps made for the inside the water body through the jute bags. We can go next. Another destructure chambers, different chambers has been created to filter out the water, and then that water goes to water body. So biggest problem, what we challenges we face generally in Gautam Budh Nagar is in this whole area, there are a lot of cows and buffaloes are in their houses. And these all cows, buffaloes, they basically पहले क्या होता था? पहले ये होता था कि जो गोबर था, it goes to field and then is compost and they use it for agriculture purpose. Now what happened due to all rapid urbanization, all these areas they doesn't have a field now. बट गाय और भैंस अभी भी हैं. तो गाय और भैंस होने की वजह से क्या होता है, जो सारा का सारा जो गोबर है वो बह के सीधा आ जा रहा है तालाब में पानी के साथ. And that problem create lot of it rapidly it increase year by year, it accumulate in the water body and they choke the water body. And then उसके बाद क्या होता है, वो सारा का सारा पानी बाहर आना start हो जाता है. So to solve that problem, we started making all the chambers, like first chamber, second chamber, and different, and then we'll put lot of plantation also. So these are the meaning of, that's the reason we're making different chambers to cater that problem. Yeah, we can go next. The native plantation, another thing. So when we say nature-based solution, I usually say native-based solution. The reason is saying native-based solution because if we don't use, we don't find the solution in native plantation, native sources, we'll be able to create. You see the water hyacinth, you see the Prosopis julievera, you see the Lantana camara. These are the also disaster created by the nature also, because you're using that nature on a wrong place. So that's the reason the reason for putting up native plantation around the water body is restore the water bodies, also attract lot of biodiversity and birds. Yeah, we can go next. And then capacity building effort for community, engage the community from day one, do a lot of workshop with them, engage them. We can go next. Yeah. Then role of women, engage a lot of local women in the water bodies, call them, meeting with them, do a lot of training with them. Is all the activity which we have done with the community. We can go next. Yeah. Then Harit Club is another model which we started doing with the community, where like a lot of clubs has been created with the kids, with the help of kids, and engage them and training them about the water bodies, about the local biodiversity, local native species, so they can engage with us, and then they can also are the medium of to spread the awareness and the importance of conservation and maintenance. Yeah, can go next. Similarly, like when we are working with the Harit clubs, like local kids, we are also working with the schools, children's, where we are creating a lot of nurseries there. We are working with them. We are teaching them a different module about environment education, about water bodies, about other environment concerns, so they can be a future leader and fight for the climate. Then when we work on all these aspects, what we receive, what we get the lot of biodiversity. We can run the slides, like it's just a good pictures of water bodies. There are a lot of migratory birds which are visiting our water bodies, like you see all these pictures. So these are what birds are also the indicators. So like you'd see the pied kingfisher. So when there is a so when you have a pied kingfisher, when you find on any water body on a pied kingfisher, you will see this pied kingfisher. So that means the water is very clear, because for hunting any fish, they have to go inside the water body. So these are the some indicator when you visit water body, you will find. So that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ankit Kumar, for taking us through this journey of the pond rejuvenation, where we do understand that each of the pond is a persona by itself and needs a very different treatment. Development Alternatives values this partnership with HCL Foundation, and we look forward to working with you for more pond rejuvenation work that we can do across the country, replicate some of the case studies and also scale up some of the initiatives. So thank you so much. We have been receiving overwhelming response from our participants who have joined us online, and we are extremely grateful for your thoughts, for your questions, for your suggestions. Unfortunately, we are running on a very tight schedule and we will not be able to respond to you immediately. But please be reassured that my colleagues will be reaching out to you post this session on an email as we make progress through this training program. We have now reached the pinnacle of our event. I now invite and request Mr. Shashank Patara, CEO of Development Alternatives, to announce the launch of the learning program. Over to you, Pat.
Thank you, Swayam. Thank you, Dr. Ashok Kumar. Thank you, Zeenat, Ankit, Swayam, and Rahul, who will be here in a moment. It's a pleasure and a privilege, actually, for me to launch the program on rejuvenating peri-urban pond ecosystems. I'd also like to thank the online participants for having taken time out this morning, with a reminder that with the details that you'll get in a few moments from now, there will actually be a full learning program on precisely what we've been talking about today. What you've seen are glimpses into the kind of information, insights, experiences, expertise that will be available to participants who sign up for the program. So your questions on email, requests for information, and presentations made today are all welcome, and we will respond. But more than that, I'd just like to encourage everyone to join the program that starts with the first batch on the 25th and 27th of September. As you would have seen today, Development Alternatives has been engaged in rejuvenating peri-urban pond ecosystems, and we've tried to do so with a fair amount of innovation, a great deal of technical expertise, and, as you heard from all of the speakers, a very strong level of engagement with communities and the local institutions that have been involved in these communities. The work is spreading across Uttar Pradesh. You heard the number of 91 ponds that have been rejuvenated in the last couple of years. In the current year, that number is set to grow to about 150. But we're very, very conscious of the fact that this is a drop in the ocean. If you look at Uttar Pradesh itself, I'm told that there are about 80,000 water bodies, not necessarily all urban, but of that magnitude that could benefit from being brought back to life. And it's therefore with that kind of impact, that kind of scale of impact in mind, that we decided that we need to start sharing the knowledge that has been built up through the projects that Development Alternatives and our partner organizations, with support from foundations such as the SCL Foundation, have implemented over the past few years. And once again, it's in this spirit of sharing knowledge that I'd like to invite everyone to take part in the course that starts. A few details. I'd mentioned the dates. It's 25th to 27th September. The course actually spreads across 3 days. On day 1, there are modules on understanding the context and the pond pre-rejuvenation processes that have to be taken up. Day 2 is extremely intense because we'll be talking about actual implementation, looking at how you can ensure sustainability and community engagement. Good practices across India. While we have an intense focus on the case studies from projects that we have implemented, but we'll also be looking at good practices across India. And then there's a special module because we know that many of the participants who sign up for this program would want to know where funds might come from for the pond rejuvenation work that you'll take up, whether it's from corporate sponsorships or corporate support, or, for example, government agencies that support this kind of work. So there'll be a special module on that. And then really special day, in my view, is day 3, when there is a visit to the work that has happened in Gautam Budh Nagar. With those words, thank you once again, everyone here, and online panelists, and those of you who might hear recordings of this session or receive other invites for participation. Please do so. We'd like to really create impact at scale and change the way water bodies are not just rejuvenated, but looked at and lived with in the peri-urban communities. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Patara. And the QR code was shared on the screen right now, and this will be available on our website. And I would invite everybody to please visit our website, www.devalt.org. And please also invite other colleagues, friends, and people that you would know who would be interested to join this course. Thank you so much. With this, I now like to invite Major General Rahul Bharadwaj, who is the Associate Vice President of Development Alternatives and also the Chief Operating Officer of TARA, to present his closing remarks.
Good afternoon, everybody. I have nothing more to add than other what the luminaries have spoken before. All that's left for me to do is to thank all our participants who joined us and spared their valuable time, as also all the esteemed guests who took time to share their thoughts with you today. Just to remind you, the next workshop, 25th to 27th September. Let me implore you, let's join us, share our experience with you, learn from you, so that we can take this initiative to scale and actually make a difference to the entire country and to the planet ultimately. It's going to be a great learning journey. We would love to share our experience, and we would love to hear your experience so that we can actually learn and make a difference all over. Thank you once again. And just to remind you, the QR code is also on the chat, and the website to be visited is www.tara.in. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for your sparing your time and the effort to listen to us. Thank you so much.